see who pops in, and we get this going live. And what's my computer not waking up here? The laptop, the tablet. All right, well, there we go. Now it's live. Yeah, it looks like I need to restart it though. We will do that at some point in the near future. All right. So let's flip over here, go to my live video. Okay. Thought I had that up, but I guess not. All right, here we go. All right, so now we're live. All right, so we're going to open up a Dominaria. Okay. Why doesn't it work? Yeah, okay, there we go. Apparently something got selected. All right. Shouldn't have been. So we're going to open this up. Of course, we know what we're looking for in these bundles. Yes, the dice. No, of course, what we're really looking for is basically the, for Dominaria United, is like Shieldred. That's still the one of the big hit cards out of here. I got a 5. Yeah, set that aside. All right. So we got our packs. I still have basically a couple of things to open as needed. So we got a land pack. We're going to set that aside. This is going to be one of those bird migration and a bunch of other foil cards. All right, so we're going to basically get the herd migration into and sleeve it. So I will sleeve the land here in a bit to protect it from foiling though. And oh, these are set boosters. I not forgot about that. These are set boosters. Okay, well that makes things more interesting. Right, so where is Dominaria? I'm gonna have to get a little more creative here with some of my videos though, and some of my openings. Although I think one of the things that I definitely going to get back to is, well, actually I got a couple of things I want to get to. One is putting the cards though from the older sets into the set binders that I've got though. Two, I've got a bunch of cards that I really need to sort. So one of the things that you guys are going to get basically be part of though, off and on though, going is going to be some of the sorting videos as well. And also, I've got a bunch of those decks that I really should make a series on as well, though, just to keep things up and running here and changing, though. And then, of course, if anyone wants to sponsor anything, certainly open to that, though. Where is my. Oh, and then maybe. So, one of the things. Oh, Dominaria Remastered, I do love that set, though. There is a I think, to me, Dominaria Remastered though was a much better uh, correlation of cards and usable ones, and ones that, while maybe the price on some of the cards though has come down though, or some of the others basically have been basically price reset though. I think that overall it was, to me, a much more uh, usable set with basically the Force of Wills of Vampiric tutors, though, um, the libraries, the the other tutors that are in there, and the retro frame look though on some of the cards as well, though, and not all of the cards, of course. Yeah, can't talk now. Not all of the cards though in that set got the retro treatment, which makes it more basically selective though, and then gives you the option to go ahead and with future sets to do a treatment like that for some of the cards, which also, of course, uh, brings us up a good point here as well, though, is that with the yeah, you know what? Let's do that though. I think one of the, I mean, it's already been mentioned though, by a number of channels though, basically about the upcoming set though, uh, basically, and we know a couple of things here. We already know that we've gotten some spoilers coming out for the uh, Wilds of Eldraine though, which certainly to me is basically going to has definitely uh, has a good basically attention though. Um, I'm just checking here right now. So we got Prismatic Omen. Doubling season is basically apparently coming. It looks like though from this information, doubling season and full art cards though. Aggravated Assault, Narco Potence, Ristic Study. I don't think you can get enough Ristic Studies. I mean, it's one thing when you get a commander. Okay, a commander card though. A commander is basically is you're limited on how many. I mean, you can only have the commander so many times though, uh, before you basically just don't need the commander anymore. But I mean, yeah, you can build different variations of the Ur Dragon, but ultimately, though, when it comes right down to it, you only need so many copies of the Ur Dragon. Would I like to have a copy of the Ur Dragon? Sure. Sheldred's Restoration. Relic Mons, Warren Chief. Goblin? Goblin, you say? Tsar Ojan, Scion of Alfara. Of course, these are the basically uh, essentially they did where they took some of the common legend cards. King Darian, what is that? XLV 33 select what? 10. I don't know. He's basically King Darian of something. My oh, we got a mythic coming here. Vesuvian Diplomacy. Excellent, nice. And then we got basically a foil land and a night token. So yeah, I kind of got sidetracked there. Open that pack up though. We'll probably do that here off and on. But whoa, art card's sticking to me. But as I was noting though, Rick's Study definitely a card that I mean, sure, you could probably print, it into oblivion if you basically made the tutor. Ristic Study, Vampiric Tutor, if you made them where they were common, but they won't. WotC WotC shouldn't do that though, as opposed to I would say that they won't do it or wouldn't do it. It's not in their interest though to do it. They want to keep, a number of cards rare though. I see that Cosmic Study or Cosmic Study. So we're going to take Ristic Study. We're going to add Cosmic to that. We're going to make it Cosmic Study instead of Cosmic Seeds. So I see Cosmic Seeds, it dropped in here though, still at work on, but thanks for stopping by. Catch it later though as well, because I will of course post this later as well. I was at work though, unfortunately, basically something that I ended up eating has not or did not agree with me though, and still giving me basically some stomach issues though. So see, I will say, or I guess I should say that I don't know how you guys were when you were younger though, or ladies though, everyone who might happen to watch this now or in the future. Uh, but one of the things that basically that I will say that is true though for me anyway is that as I've gotten older though, um, where I might have been able to eat and basically a lot of things wouldn't necessarily bother me. Nowadays, though, it's quite different. There are certain things or times where something just doesn't agree with me, whereas, prior times, though, it wasn't a big deal. So, but as I said, I'm going to have to be basically a little more creative, though. I mean, opening packs, bundles is fun, uh, but there are a lot of channels that can do that. There are a lot of channels that basically that have more resources than I do, more subscribers than I do. Uh, but I think each channel brings its own uniqueness, though. And one of the things that I definitely want to get back to doing, and I just have to actually put them together, is going over the art cards, though. Basically, doing other videos there on my decks, talking about the cards themselves, especially the older cards, though, because I mean, like the sacrifice here from basically unlimited might be revised, but I think it's unlimited based on my information though. Sacrifice one of your creatures to add to your mana pool a number of black mana equal to the creature's casting cost. So it costs 1 to cast, which is cool. And it doesn't cost a lot of cast, so you're going to tap one mountain, or one mountain. Nope, one mountain won't help you. You're going to tap one swamp, and they're going to sacrifice a creature. Now, sacrificing some creature like this here, Urborg's Repossession, though, is not going to get you anything. You're trading one for one. However, if you sacrifice something like this here, Withering Nercomass, which is a 6 cast, and it only costs you one swamp and basically 6 colors of mana. Now, on the other hand, you basically have gained 6 black mana. That is what makes sacrificing the creature a much more potent cost, though, because now all of a sudden, basically, you've gained 6 mana, which basically, which then of course allows you to bring out basically a creature that, or multiple creatures though, at that point with that cost. So basically, instead of just getting one creature out, you actually have now been able to sack that creature though, and basically increase your mana pool. So now all of a sudden, you could either get something you really wanted out, um, because maybe it required, maybe you only had one swamp. If you only had one swamp, and of course that limits what you obviously can pull out or do there. However, basically, if you can sacrifice that something like that, because you got, yeah, they're able to basically cast with colorless or other mana. But I mean, let's say that you're playing black and blue or a 3-color deck. Uh, Obviously, dual lands, or basically lands that are going to generate or have the ability to provide additional uh, mana, though, is helpful. But now, if you can cast that 6 though, and sacrifice it, now, so now you could actually pull up and basically deploy something that is much more um, useful. Or the other way that sacrifice would be good is that, let's say you've got basically, let's say you actually drew Fireball or one of the other cards where it's basically X plus one, like red or something. All of a sudden now you sacrifice a high end creature. You now have basically provided yourself at that particular moment in time when you drew that fireball, basically the opportunity to tap yourself though out potentially. Maybe you leave one blue, depending on how close you are and what color you're playing though, because maybe you've got a counter spell or something in your hand though. But you basically can then you basically ramp though, and now all of a sudden you basically have turned that fireball from maybe a 3-point fireball. Now it's a 9-point fireball. Or obviously, if you had something even bigger out there on the field there, where you could go ahead and sacrifice that, basically something larger. Uh, you know, so I don't know if I would consider sacrificing, say, Kozlik, the Butcher of Truth, as being that it's basically 10 colorless mana. However, for a 12/12. However, if your opponent only had basically 10 life left, it's a gamble at that point though. Now, my opponent had 10 life left, and I had Withering Necromancer on the field and Kozlik. I would sacrifice Withering Necromancer and basically then hope that if I have enough available mana, that I could take and cast basically that fireball though with the sacrifice, and basically generate enough damage though at that point. Of course, again, the always the challenge in doing that though is you have to be careful that you're not overplaying your hand, because you don't want to basically end up where you're sacrificing more than it's worth and you get countered. But that's where you have to watch your opponent, though, see what they've got, what they're playing. It's like playing chess. It's a game of basically strategy. So back to Wilds of Eldraine here. It looks like besides the one Ristic Study, there's Curiosity apparently coming, Greater Aromancy. Obviously, we're apparently going to get Smothering Tithe again. I, you know, basically, then we're going to get Moon Shaker Calvary, Cruel, some So Monophage, Nightmare, Tough Cookie. Tough Cookie looks like it belongs in one of the unsets. Uh, you guys might be able to see what I'm actually looking at here. Maybe not, though, with that. So let me try sliding over here this just a little bit and see if you guys can see it. I might try actually editing this video and throwing this in, though, for basically additional content or basically additional view. But there's the Tough Cookie. It's a food golem. When Tough Cookie enters the battlefield, create a food token. It's an artifact with basically 2 and tap. Sacrifice this artifact to gain 3 life. Tap 2 and a green, target non-creature artifact you control becomes a 4/4 artifact creature until end of turn. Okay, so you can also tap 2 and basically sacrifice the Tough Cookie, and you gain 3 life as well. So you basically, with the food golem here, basically you're going to get the opportunity to actually be able to double its effectiveness, though. So you get the token, food token, when it enters, and it's an artifact that you can then sacrifice and gain 3 life. If you want to double it, though, you can do the same with the food golem, and that'll give you basically 6 life. That actually, I think, is pretty cool, though. Definitely going to see about getting that added into the video here, the live video. So the next thing we've got coming uh, basically after the Tough Cookie is Asherak, Wicked Manipulator, Legendary Planeswalker Asherak. If you would pay life while your library has at least that many cards in it, exile that many cards from your top of your library instead. Okay, so if you get attacked and you're going to basically, and you've got this planeswalker out there, instead of taking damage, you're basically going to transfer it to burning cards, though. Interesting. Could be. Uh, that's definitely a gamble. Look at the top 2. So basically, for the +1 loyalty, I really think I need to start playing it. Basically, MTG Arena, though, or something, just to get a better feel of how some of the new basically cards are going to play though, and given that it's been a while. Let's see. Look at the two. So with the +1 thing, basically look at the top two cards of your library, exile one of them, and put the other one in your hand. So -2, on the Planeswalker, you create a 2/1/1 Black Nightmare creature tokens with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if a card was put into exile this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And then a -7, though, target player exiles the top X cards of their library, where the X is the total number or the total mana value of cards you own in exile. So that is basically, they got the original, or basically the standard version, and then a basically like an extended or showcase though, or depending on how you want to classify it, borderless card though version. I actually have to admit that, at least from the image I'm looking at here, and you guys may or may not be able to see it though. I mean, if I moved this over where you guys actually would be able to see the what I'm seeing though, you probably could see better. I'm going to say that I am more fond of the, so while I am fond of a lot of the borderless showcase type cards, this particular one, I think I'm actually more a fan of the non-borderless version. That being said, I will say that the Prismatic Omen, the Doubling Season, Aggravated Assault, though, Ristic Study, Curiosity, and Necropotence, then the Greater Aromancy and Smothering Tithe in their borderless versions look quite interesting, though. All right, so I just basically keep tabs on and see who is here or who's watching, though. If anyone is saying hello. Uh, we'll get to the other packs, though. Um, I'm actually quite basically interested in what's been put out so far for Wilds of Eldraine, though. It looks like we're coming toward the end here at this point. Tauron, the Kindly Lord. Very noble. Okay. Restless Fortress basically is coming as a land. Let's see here. Restless Fortress enters the battlefield tapped. Tap to add 1 white mana or 1 black mana. However, you can also tap 2 plus a white and black. Restless Fortress becomes a 1/4 white-black nightmare creature till end of turn. It's still a land. Whenever Restless Fortress attacks, defending player loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. That's the basically standard version, and then we've got the basically borderless version. That looks pretty cool. And then Sleight of Hand as an uncommon card we've got here as well. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other one at the bottom of your library. Useful card, 1 blue. Forest, mountain, swamp, island, plains, looks like at this point as well. Okay, so it looks like that is basically the current, basically Wilds of Eldraine new. It definitely has my attention though. I will also uh, basically note that apparently we've learned from the release on the upcoming uh, Wilds or the Lost Caverns of Ixalan here in the winter, uh, of the year, though, that apparently we're going to basically see a basically some uh, more dinosaurs and everything, though, but also they were noting that it's also going to have a tie-in with the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, though, um, like its 30th um anniversary, I think it was, though. So that's that's definitely could be uh, quite interesting, though. I think it will be a better. I think it will. It think it works better being a basically like an underlying tie-in, though, to the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, with the already knowing that Ixalan was a dinosaur type um, set from the Ixalan series, though, rivals of Ixalan and Ixalan. Uh, I will also basically what was so of course there's Doctor Who coming, though. Uh, let's do so we also got the roadmap for basically Wizards of the Coast 2024 season, though. Apparently, so this, of course, has been covered. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it because at this point, though, like I said, we're needing, I need to expand my uh, creativity, though, my basically discussion, though. Opening packs is fun. I love opening packs. The mystery, the hunt, though, the art cards for the sets, but also have to keep in mind that sometimes one needs to find other creative options. Bark Weave, Crusher, Radiant Grove, take up the shield, Hammer Hand, which is why I basically one of the things that I'm looking at Coral Colony is the opportunity to basically partake in switching up some of my options, my cards here. Walking Bulwark, Blight Pile. Plus, the other thing that allowed me to do is turn some of the new stuff into some older cards as well, though. Tori Diavanti, Fury Rider, and also basically Defiler of Faith. Look at some other content, though. Into or in thrall to the sorcery foil, and then basically a advertisement for Arena. All right, so moving right along here. Coming back to basically what's coming up, though, and I think like I said, how to be creative, though. Set yourself aside and do some stuff. I mean, I like the fact that, basically, like I said, I kind of feel like I really need to, I may need to, or I may want to do that. and that is do what basically MTG Hillbilly over there and some of the others do is basically go ahead and actually do live streams there where they're playing uh, basically uh, basically arena though. I know that basically I believe that uh, MTG Hillbilly was supposed to or is supposed to be doing a upcoming live event though. Uh, basically, when the uh, basically Wilds of Eldraine come out though. So one of the things that I'm just doing here right now while I'm streaming live is basically popping over here to his live stream at this point and just saying hello and basically uh, thinking that I will, like I said, I may need to consider playing. Uh, so if I can spell, then we're gonna say just stop in. And so just stopped in to watch you play. There we go. Hey, so just stopped in to basically watch a little playing going on there while basically live streaming myself here though. So we're just basically checking that out though. Of course, should be able to kind of see. Well, obviously since I switched back over to see what you guys are seeing though, but you will be able to see here in a moment once I flip back over the live stream of basically MTG Hillbilly's live stream playing Arena. He did say he was going to be doing a like I or wants to do hopefully a 15-hour stream, something like that though. Uh, looks like got a couple of people who basically responded back to my hello there, and also just liked his stream as well. So we're gonna open a pack while he's playing here, kind of watch through, and then we'll we'll go back to talking about the upcoming roadmap that they've laid out as well. So just to be a little creative and odd at this point as well. So another R card there. Ooh, Oil Swamp though. I know that the full art lands are just that. They're basically just now more of a common thing. Mesa Cavalry, Phyrexian Warhorse, Grivian Cavalier, Heroic Charge, Radara, Coalition Warlord, yep. Sheldred's Restoration again, Rona, Sheldred's Faithful, and Nanaj, the Storm Runner, Urborg, Lilligriff, Lyrogriff, Battle Rage Blessing, and a bird token. Okay. All right. What do we got? Yeah, we got. Let's do another one here. Opponent graveyard. Might actually just have to take up and watch as well, though. But as I was noting, though, definitely I will say that the wilds of Eldraine certainly have my attention, though. When it comes to getting basically stuff like the Commander Masters, Inscribed Tablet, I'm I I picked up a basically a pack here, pack there, though stuff like that. But I don't foresee making. I'm not making any heavy investment into it. Cult Conscript, Lagamos, Hand of Hatred, Zar, Ojuan, Scion of Aphra. I think that had that one, and that one's a duplicate. Ooh, the Raven Man in the basically showcase or such. And we got another rare coming here. We've got Vidara's Firebrands and an Idyllic Beachfront in foil. Oh, and that it is Strixhaven. Confront the past from Strixhaven. Okay. What? So interesting. And looks like there but a few people popping in to watch. Oh, hey, we got investable collectibles over here checking in on me and seeing what's good though. Yeah, just decided to open up a Dominaria United bundle though, and then as I was opening up, kind of got sidetracked talking about Wilds of Eldraine though, and checking out the some of the new cards that are coming that have been basically already revealed though at this point. And then I was getting ready to hop over and talk about basically the uh, roadmap though for 2024, and got basically sidetracked, jumped over and found that MTG Hillbilly over here is running on the arena right now, and so I was watching him while I opened up a few packs of the Dominaria United set packs, set boosters though, and then kind of flipping back and forth here though. So we'll check back on. Actually, let's see. How is all right. All right. So let's see. Okay. So if I'm reading this right though, you guys all right. So either he's got 6 life left here or he's got 16 life, depending on basically which one is actually his life counter. It looks like the opponent either way has 28 life though available. So I think he's on the losing end at the moment here. If this is right though. So that's not necessarily a good thing. But we'll check back and see how he's doing though here in a bit. I want to talk about basically the roadmap here further for basically what we've got coming up though. Um, and basically, just as I noted, I had kind of made a comment about the cards here though that we know that's been revealed. I do like these full art cards though. I noted that like Ristic Study though, Vampiric Tutor though, the tutors though, or similar cards though that basically provide um, basically a higher or demand type card, though you certainly can overprint them. However, um, I look at it and think that, with most of the cards, though, that there is a higher demand, though, for the card, whether we're talking about basically building it with and being able to use it in multiple play sets, though, without having to tear your basically deck apart every time you want to go and play with a different setup, though, makes having, potentially having more than one copy, though, that much more useful. Um, if you're, of course, going to play basically in a setup where you're only going to have one copy, though, that's one thing. But if you can have multiple copies, though, like basically up to four copies, and going back to the traditional um, gameplay back in the day, though, then of course it's going to make that card, though, both useful and at the same time where you can benefit from the need to have more than one card as well. Um, so, and as not a surprise, though, I will say that it looks like that um, the one card that I know that I have coming, though, just haven't. It basically is not mailed yet, though, because it has just waiting on it to be worth mailing a full uh, box of cards, though, if you will. Is I did get in Commander Masters a capture of Jing Zhao, which basically at this point the non yeah, so it was like $40 though to begin with, though, when it launched. Now it's down to about $20, though. I'm not surprised. Of course, the cards that I think that are going to be more popular um, out of this set, though, and useful would be the medallions. Um, this Liver Grave Mother from Commander Masters is certainly going to be uh, useful in demand, though. The Jeweled Lotus, though, I mean, it's going to be it's definitely a card that is going to be it's going to continue to have use, though, um, as long as the printing remains um, basically uh, at a mythic type level, though, where it's not being printed to oblivion, though. Uh, what I would, what I'd really like to see, though, um, is I'd love to see basically Wizards come up with a way to basically create new cards, though, that basically in Modern Horizons 3 would be a perfect place to put basically a new um, basically dual land card, though, type, or a tri land card, though, where basically you could have so you basically could do where you would have something obviously because of the reserve list, though, some of the cards you can't, you're limited on how you can basically particularly do them, though, um, because of the reserve list, though, so it's not going to let you do a exact uh, copy of the original dual lands, though, or should it, though. One of the things, I mean, if you really want to do that, basically, um, you could make a serialized copy of it though where it's not playable, but I don't know how valuable that would be though, because it wouldn't be basically considered tournament legal though. It would be serialized, but it wouldn't be tournament legal. Would that violate the basically the reserve list clause though? If it's not tournament legal though, just like the Magic 30, then apparently no. If you made it serialized, it means that it's only going to have, basically 500 copies though of that, which basically does make it unique, but also still, because it's basically just a high-end proxy, that is not going to be that really useful, though it's also going to make them, like, once you decide to jack the price up, though, for a card that you can't use because it's a proxy. I mean, that's what the Magic 30 was. So I don't see that being that functional or useful, though. Where I do think you could do is basically, so right now, basically, like this card here, though, Idyllic Beachfront, enters battlefield tapped. Now, it's just a common card, though, that happens before. But what if you basically made this where it basically came in and basically you had two options there. So basically, you have 2 or 3 colors, pick your choice. Uh, but the option is that you can either let it come in untapped, though, or let it come in. But if it comes in untapped, like the original dual lands, which I used, I had one and then ended up having to part ways with it, though. But that's where proxies come in. Let's say that you had, so yeah, you basically have this option here. So this comes in, basically it's works like, kind of like basically the current dual lands, but has a ability to make it work like an original dual land. So basically, normally it comes in tap. So that basically makes it, just like a standard land, only you basically you've got 2 colors or 3 to tap it for. But let's say that we added a option though that said, hey, on the other hand, if you want to let this come in right away and not be tapped, where you can actually use the mana, you have, it basically is going to, there's a cost. That cost could be, you could do various versions of these, of the card though, where basically not necessarily, and I wouldn't do it all in one set, Modern Horizon 3 though, uh, but basically what you could do is you could say, hey, you know what, you want it untapped to come in right away, either sacrifice a, you could sacrifice a creature, you could have one that sacrifices an artifact, enchantment though, basically anything that's a permanent though, or you could even have it where basically, hey, you know what, you get it, uh, but you want it untapped though, burn two basically cards off the top of your deck, or 2 cards out of your hand, or some combination though, or basically have it where basically you want it as well though. What about basically you have to essentially, as an extra price for having to come in untapped, basically lose 2 life or X number of life. Pick a choice though. There are any number of combo ways that I think that you could create a new dual land or tri lands. And maybe for the tries though, it basically is that instead of say 2 life, you lose 2 life, or 1 life and sack a creature or something like that. On the Tri-lands, though, maybe it's sack. Maybe you've got to do lose basically sacrifice or lose 3 life though, and or basically you can uh, do a sack creature or item artifact though, uh, and then lose 2 life. So you have the choice then at that point to basically choose: do I need the access to the mana right away, where it comes in and now I can make use of it though right away, or do I just basically let it come in tapped and bide my time though? I think that really would provide a way that you could bring new new dual lands into the conversation though, and you wouldn't be basically affecting the OG dual lands, because those came in basically without any restrictions though. The new ones come in basically tapped though. And I think there's one that basically maybe the pain lands that basically you take 2 points of damage though. But I don't know if those basically uh, what basically I don't remember what the benefit was though, if there was any for them basically to do that though at this point though. But that would be where I would be looking at is coming up with a way that you could basically create um, new dual lands though, that basically would be like half OG duels and half basically like the newer dual lands though. So it's not quite an OG, but not basically a repeat of the existing ones. Um, and I think Modern Horizons 3 though in Q2 of 2024 would be a potentially good place to put that though, because it basically would certainly give that um, basically the Modern Horizons 3 something uh, that would make it uh, basically in demand though. Besides throwing a bunch of reprints in, which reprints though are useful for certain times and places though, but reprints only work though if it's been a basically if it's something that is in demand though and that is going to be worth the reprint. At the same time though, apparently this has got a little gold stamp on it though for uh, basically the magic stamp, and I thought it was upside down. Apparently it wasn't. So that, and I think so that would be one of the things that I would do is basically is kind of look at approaching and doing the basically creating new cards that way though, um, with an old flavor style, but creating new cards, especially using the um, basically uh, essentially your master sets though, or your remastered sets, your Modern Horizon 3 type set though, where you basically have the opportunity to actually uh, put it in though to give that set value though. It also makes it not basically something that is just going to be a grab and go. So it's basically has a place in that set. Inscribed tablet. Wrath. Urg. Spawn of Turg. Braids. Arisen Nightmare. Phoenix Chick. And a Night Token. Okay. So coming back to our basically, whoops, I flipped the page. Let's go back to the information that basically came out here the other day, though, with regards to the um basically 2024 and beyond set, though. Beyond set, basically. So we know that basically 2024 and beyond, they've laid out the kind of the basically plan, though. Essentially, now of course, this basically is more like a basically guideline or timeline, though, for what we'll probably see in general, though. But I can see where, of course, you'll have other sets and other things that are very likely to pop in, though, beyond what basically they've laid out as their master timeline, though. Uh, so apparently, Q1 of 2024, we're getting the Ravnica remastered, though. Essentially, a remastered version similar to what we've got with Dominaria remastered. Um, so will be interesting to see what basically cards from the Ravnica block, though, that they're going to set up, though. I mean, at least from the Dominaria, you literally had a wide range of cards that you could use, though. Um, uh, I know that we got basically for Ravnica, what do we got? We got like Guilds of Ravnica, Ravnica Allegiance, though. Um, Obviously, I mean, maybe you'll get guild kits, um, stuff from there. Um, I mean, not sure what. Or just an original Ravnica set, though, that we potentially get as well that could be used in basically the set or the new remastered version, though. Um, that's what I'm looking here right now. What Because obviously, if you're going to remaster the set, though, you need to. I mean, you need more, though, than just basically one or two sets that basically are part of that, though. Uh, Ravnica's City of Guilds. Okay, so maybe we got what, three, though. I'd have to. That's a good question. So how many basically how many basically how many sets? And now I need to spell. So basically, how many sets are effectively from Ravnica, though, or were on the Ravnica basically plane, if you will? Whereas, you know, Dominaria, you have quite a few different areas and sets that they could pull from, though. Um, but for Ravnica, though, that, I mean, obviously, like I said, you got Return to Ravnica, uh, Ravnica guilds, though. But um, what I'm curious about is just how many basically sets, though. Okay, so okay, okay, so I guess there is actually more than for Ravnica than just basically the Return to Ravnica, though, and uh, otherwise what I had referenced. Though it looks like there actually is. Uh, basically. Um, so the Ravnica block itself, I guess, actually the original Ravnica block uh, included was based on or Ravnica and the Ravnica City of Guilds, Guild Pack, and Dissension. Okay, so I guess there are actually more basically options though with regards to Ravnica that they could go ahead and tap into to basically um, draw cards though, new art though, new designs. Um, Obviously, it's going to be in a way a reprint of those uh, basically of those cards though the set. Um, so uh, so that means that we're probably going to then get a basically essentially I would expect a new version or view type of design for things um, like the blood crypt, the breeding pool, and the similar lands that basically go with that. Um, and then, of course, I'm sure that means that you may get, of course, you're going to get definitely the any of the other lands though. But when you look at Dissension right now, I mean the basically what you've basically like Hallowed Fountain, Breeding Pool, Blood Crypt, and then Crime and Punishment. There's an uncommon of Mage, Right Stone, and then a Protein Hulk. But now you're basically getting into the you get Rat Catcher, Infernal Tutor. I'm sure those would be any one of those, but I'm sure the lands are going to get in there out of Dissension. And then let's see, we go with Guild Pack. I won't do this. I'm only doing this for the Ravnica at this point, though. Uh, so Guild Pack apparently came. Yep. Okay. So Guild Pack was before Dissension. So then, okay, Steam Vents, Stomping Ground, um, Godless Shrine, though. Uh, then you get basically the ley line, the stitch in time. I guess Niv Mizzet. You're and at that point you're really down into the bottom though, and then Ravnica, City of Guilds. Excuse me. Doubling season. Okay, that. So, but so that means so what? We know that. Okay, so we know that Wilds of Eldraine apparently is going to get a doubling season. So does that mean that we're also going to get a doubling season then for basically coming to basically the remastered Ravnica as well, though? So then we'd get a doubling season. That's going to be interesting to see whether or not basically another doubling season comes with the Ravnica remastered, though. Obviously, I can see the basically the lands getting basically reset though and put in there. Uh, Cloudstone Curio, maybe Temple Garden, obviously Overgrown Tomb. Dark Confident though, maybe. I mean, I'm just looking at the top ones though. Um, don't, but I wouldn't be surprised if Birds of Paradise didn't pop back up though. Uh, and then some of the others, the lower end cards, of course, though. Uh, so that'll be interesting. What do you guys think, though? Those of you who are watching live, though, or basically um, may watch this as a follow up video as to basically whether we'll see what we'll see with the Dominaria, with the Ravnica remastered, though, set coming in 2024. Then we move on to the murders of Karlov Manor, which is apparently also going to be in Ravnica, but basically more of a whodunit clue mystery. We'll then move to so Ravnica remastered murders at Karlov Manor. Certainly, I will most likely basically check out though. Uh, the Universes Beyond for Fallout though, that I will likely pass on. Outlaws Thunder Junction though, which is going to be basically a kind of like a Wild West type theme, apparently, as has been reported though. Uh, could be interesting though, and could provide some really cool artwork as well. Uh, I made a comment though, and this, given what we've seen, this may hold true, and that is that basically Q2, basically starting last year with, or effectively this year, I guess it's still 2023. We got the Streets of New Capenna, which is basically is more of a was more of a basically gangster type uh, plane setup though. Now we're jumping to the Wild West type plane setup. Um, Wonder if they'll get basically permission to use the Wild Wild West um, theme song, basically for the Outlaws of Thunder Junction. But coming back to my original thought and point is that Q2, starting this year, next year, and going forward, though, I would not be surprised if we don't get basically it being the kind of like the test bed for new planes, though. Um, then we've got also Q2, so March sometime, and basically in Q2, April or May, we'll have Outlaws of Thunder Junction and then Modern Horizons. Um, so probably April, and then basically, yeah, probably June we'll get Modern Horizons 3 though, because then in July, which is well, okay. So hold on, no Q3. Yep, I'm betting June. Okay, so March and March, and then either April or May will be out. Wow. So Universes Beyond will for Fallout is in March. Then Outlaws will be sometime in the Q2, which would be either April or May. And then we've got Modern Horizons 3 coming in basically June. Could be the end of June. July, though, potentially. But July is definitely apparently Assassin's Creed coming. After that, in Q3, we're going to Bloomborough. And then basically concluding 2024, Dusk Morn, the House of Horrors, or House of Horror. And from there, very first product, basically remastered set, like Dominaria and like Time Spire Remastered. And obviously, we don't expect to see many new cards in there, though. Basically, pulling from all three Ravnica blocks. All right, so we know about what's coming there. I just want to jump ahead to 2025 because we've got basically we'll be back though. Okay, so apparently they don't have. Okay, so I know that 2025 though is going to bring some more sets though. Um, I guess let's do this here. Let's try. So I know with 2025 and beyond though, after the basically Assassins Creed though, here we go. So 2025, 26 just should have the basically hopefully this has more because I know it was laid out though about what we've got after 2024 though, and that basically is that we've got some other conjunction or basically other uh, collaborations though. Um, I am also thinking that perhaps maybe with the um, we've got Final Fantasy coming as well though. With the okay, so yeah, 2025. Um, Serialized cards or in particular one of one type cards. That might be something that we see in basically potentially in universes beyond where maybe they do a one of one card, especially if there is something that might be unique or worth basically uh, doing that a one of one card to make it a chase card though or chase cards. 2025, we've got apparently we know that two sets have officially been named, have been announced though. Oh, Final Fantasy is coming, a huge IP though. Um, uh, I also would not be surprised if so. Basically, after the we've got Innistrad remastered coming, uh, which basically will be essentially a uh, essentially all the Innistrad cards being remastered and redone, though new design potentially, new foiling or foiling potentially, and such. So um, then we've got basically code names here. So we got tennis, which basically first quarter is essentially is going to be a racing uh, type genre, includes multiverse planes and death race. See that to me, that seems like that might have been better placed in Q2 though, and it hasn't really. Basically, it's coming in Q1, but that could always be pushed or changed though because this is just a roadmap. Ultimate apparently is going to bring us to, with dragons and back to Tarkir though. We've got something codenamed Volleyball, which basically is a science fiction space opera theme. Wrestling, we're going to head back to the plane of uh, Lorwyn. Um, Fairy elves, Kithkin, and more. And then we jump to 26. We've got basically yachting and ziplining, which is supposed to be like wrapping up the arc story that effectively they've decided to do, which starts with the Wilds of Eldraine. And its conclusion will bring us to the War of basically Spark. Uh, I mean, its conclusion was compared to War Spark conclusion, according to Watsy. Okay. Uh, Apparently, yachting is going to take us back to Strixhaven. Now, two things though that come to mind at this point. One, obviously, with basically um, Ultimate taking us with dragons though to Darkir, uh, could be an opportunity. But I am thinking that we may see some Modern Horizons 3. I would not be surprised as well to see the ancient dragons from basically from Baldur's Gate make an appearance there. It would be an opportunity to basically uh, bring the dragons back from Baldur's Gate, though, to a new set, Modern Horizons 3. It would basically serve as a another anchor option, though, along with basically uh, some sort of land cycle, probably. Although I think it would be cool if it was a entirely new land cycle to be built with basically what I'd suggested earlier, though. And uh, yep, there's Four Keeps Gaming. I'm just stopping in though. I was just looking at what's coming up though in 2024, 2025, 2026. Just noting a couple of things though. Like as I was saying though, with basically Modern Horizons 3 though, I would not be surprised if we don't see the Ancient Dragons there. Obviously, we know that, or it's been mentioned that basically we'll be making a trip though to Kanza Tarkir. I was looking at what basically the remastered set for next for the Ravnica potentially could include though, because obviously it's going to be that just that a remastered set of those cards. Um, and I was saying that what I think would be uh, basically would be neat if you basically with Modern Horizons 3 though, because it would provide that opportunity to create a hybrid type OG dual land card where basically um, you effectively got the option. You can have your card dual land card like this come in tapped as it normally would, or you can pay a price to have it untapped, like sacrificing a creature, like this here over basically where you sacrifice a creature though, and that way you basically are kind of reaching a middle of the road where it's not the true OG though card for the dual land, which obviously they can't because it would would basically go against the principle of the reserve list, though. But I think that you could work a way into basically not tank those cards because obviously they're taking a hit right now, but that deals with the economy. That's not directly anything that Watsy's doing or not doing, though. The basically the market goes through ebbs and flows anyway, whether it's basically in the secondary market though. But if you did a basically a hybrid type version of cards though, where there is basically a cost that says, hey, you can have it though, you can have it as your normal card, but if you need to speed it up and you want to take a ding of basically 2 points of life or a sack a creature though, or a combination though of that. Um, and I was saying that you could do a Triland version of it too, and maybe the cost for the Triland is a little more. But either way, Modern Horizons 3, I think, would be a great place to do that though, because one, what happens with both Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2 were not your typical price pack. I mean, uh, basically right now, a set pack though of Modern Horizons 2, um, all things equal at the moment though, you're paying, between, let's say, $8 to $10, depending on where you're at, taxes, and basically what you might be able to get it for. A Basically a regular, like, say, the Wilds of Eldraine, which is coming up here pretty quick. You're looking at, you know, say $4 to $5.50 a pack. Obviously, it could be, a little bit more depending on what's in there, though. Um, but you're still looking at, I mean, even at that point, though, right now, you're still looking at like a $3 premium, though. And so $3 to $4, which basically puts it not in Commander Masters price land, though, because it's basically absurd at that point, though. But it definitely puts it in where it's not something that everyone's going to want to buy or buy a lot of. But if you had something like that in there, though, along with, say, the Ancient Dragons, though, and obviously, you're going to need some other stuff in there, though, you could certainly make it Modern Horizon 3 where it has a basically an attractive option, though. Plus, it then gives you the opportunity to go ahead and with the upcoming other sets though that they've got there that are coming, um, basically it keeps the other land cycle though, like the Ravnica land cycle. If you're going to put it in Ravnica Remaster, which I can't see why they don't put it in there, um, then it basically gives you the opportunity to basically give the Modern Horizons 3 something cool though that is both unique and at the same time isn't basically going to cause too much of a problem. You could do that with some of the other basically reserve list cards as well, though, by sprinkling them throughout the basically set, though, or basically um, on Horizons. Now, there are some reserve list cards that basically that you may not, that A would either be, even with tweaking them, basically like what I suggested with the land cycle, that basically would either be um, controversial because of their nature to begin with, though, back in the day. They also could be basically uh, where they could be exploited or busted, though, to begin with and not work. They could also be a problem where maybe they're basically um, nowadays they're not that they wouldn't be effective. You'd have to ramp the card up to make it worth using, though, which basically would defeat the purpose of making the card like an original card. But the land cycle, though, um, and if you really wanted to do it, you could even come up with basically. I mean, I don't. I you could introduce a new. You could certainly introduce some of the other cards, though, potentially that could be useful as well, though, that might have fallen off, though, um, from the previous sets, though, that or alpha beta sets that basically that aren't reserved. Maybe they're just aren't used anymore. You could create new artwork, though, and have them basically come back, though. I I'd like to see. I don't think Clone is reserve list though. I know Fork is. Um, Fork might be a tough one to basically come up with an alternate though, but it would be nice to see basically Fork as a some sort of basically make a return appearance though, even if it's basically a various version though, watered down though. You could call it split forking. Uh, um, Time Twister though. I mean, I if Hollywood can recycle basically if Hollywood can recycle stories though and what do you call it relaunch stories though, some stories relaunch better than others, but there's no reason why uh, that couldn't be done with Wizards though. And there are cards that basically that you could pull from basically back then though that uh, basically aren't necessarily reserve list cards that could be put into some of the newer sets though. Um, Especially obviously things that basically like counterspell though. I could see that making a return appearance though. Um, I'd love to see some sort of new variation on the basically Moxes though. Again, challenge is basically balancing that. I also made a comment that's there as well that I said, what would be basically uh, with the basically the dual lands would be kind of with basically an absurdity part though is basically making the OG dual lands, putting them in, proxying them in a way like the Magic 30, then serializing them. So they're still not tournament legal like the Magic 30. They're effectively proxies. The only difference is now they're serialized, which to me basically that would have been if you did that in Commander Masters though, that that could have justified the price point that they are wanting for it though, because it would have been basically a flip on the basically the Magic 30 card pack though. You created a serialized version and you basically have made it where it's just the basically a essentially the dual lands though. But as I think about it more and more, I'm like, that would have been Commander Masters ideal though, not Modern Horizons. Modern Horizons with basically I think should be something just like I mentioned though. Um, I'm going to basically effectively going to finish up opening these packs though, because I need to get some things updated on my eBay listings though, because that's one of the things that I'm doing here with basically some of my duplicate cards though, is essentially uh, flipping cards that either I don't need though um, onto eBay though, and that way I can then take and make that money for basically buying uh, new stuff though, like Wilds of Eldraine when that comes out. Excuse me. All right, so we got rare coming. Got a little Sulphur Springs, common Eerie Soul Tender, Soldier Token. Hmm. All right. What else do we got here? We got two more packs left. And I think that had Commander Masters been at the price point that DM22 was at, I think you're right. The only thing that basically the one thing that basically, I mean, so yeah, blue decks. I think that Commander, each of them has their own. See the Lord of the Rings though, and the price point it was at though, even as it spiked though, because the hunt for the ring, the One Ring, was on. It made sense though. It was basically it provided both a great opportunity to find that ring if you were looking for it though, um, and basically provided the opportunity if you found it though, then it was great. Even the just the elven rings, the dwarven rings, it had not only practical usable cards but some very good uh, basically chase cards in there as well though. It was um, it was actually quite practical though, and the person who found the One Ring though, and the fact that the person who acquired that One Ring happened to be basically Post Malone is basically a great person. I think that personally though, now I can't speak for everyone, but personally, had I found that One Ring and I had the opportunity to sell it to Post Malone for whatever price he paid for it, or I could have sold it for 25% more to some collector who was basically just going to put it into a vault. I, I'd make a deal with Post Malone. I'd sell it to him for the price, and basically have him and sign something though, um, just because I think it would be a better value though. You know, basically maybe I'd find you know get his autograph on basically a soul ring or something like that though, or even one of these One Rings. I mean, shoot, basically you find a non-foil One Ring though, and you have him sign that for you along with the price that he paid. I think that would be, to me, that would be um, a much better deal than getting an extra 25% though, as a fan of Magic. Now, from a pure standpoint of a sell and investment, oh yeah, you take the highest bid or price though. It'd be like basically when essentially you're at a baseball game, particular baseball though, because it's easier to get. You catch basically that baseball though, that basically, like Aaron Judd when he hit 70 home, or was it 70 home runs though, or any one player who hits basically that, it's a magical number though of home runs, especially breaking or tying a record though, either in the American League or the National League. The ball is valuable. It's more valuable to the team. My take at that point is though that obviously if you're, so there are two fan types. Fan A is that you're basically just a fan of baseball, and maybe you're a fan of an opposing team that happened to be playing that day. So you caught the ball though off of basically your rivals though. So you're like a Red Sox fan, and you catch a Yankees baseball. Well, I'm not throwing it back, but I'm sure it's going to be harder for me to basically give it or sell it to or trade it to the player who hit it. If, on the other hand, I am a fan of the team, though, then my what basically I would value it at is going to be different, though, and I would be more inclined to a conversation of basically what that is, though. So it might be where, hey, you know what? Um, I'll let you have it for, basically, maybe the team will give me, I, maybe I get to come and watch, basically, maybe I get 10 uses of a luxury suite though at the stadium, and along with some, basically cash. Now, maybe the catch is with the getting to the luxury suite, I can only use them basically, I can only have one use. Uh, I have to mark that out though, and maybe I can only get one time when it's basically, say, a major team coming in though. But I can otherwise get that though, when it's not the major team. So, maybe it's the end of the season or something, and hey, they're playing. The team's not doing great though, but I get the opportunity to go sit in a luxury suite though uh, for a couple of games. Uh, okay, so the card's upside down, or such though. Let's turn that around here. The Hadra Binder of Wills. That is a basically Dominaria United Commander card, though. All right, Mythic. That is Twiddler's sake. There's your Mythic. Drink him if you got him. And Vahadrin Hexcatcher. Rare there. Oh, and a Caves of Quellos. Uh, Borderless, though, foil. And even a Invade the City as a list card. Well, that is definitely that was a great last pack though to go out on them. Not particularly did not particularly find the card that I was hoping to find though. I was hoping to find basically a Shieldred, uh, basically in the mix there. That's one of the reasons why I decided to open it up was to see if I might be able to run across another Shieldred because that is definitely the one of the big cards out of this set though. There's Shieldred. But I will still say that even though I did not find one, I think that was a pretty good bundle, though. I know the Caves of Quellos isn't necessarily the most uh, expensivest card in the set, but it is definitely basically a nice find, though, uh, along with some of the other cards that we found here, though, as well. And basically found a couple of, oh yeah, Confront the Past as a basically list card Strixhaven though. See, you know, I'm going to finish up with one additional take here though, and that is list cards though. I know that not everybody's a fan of them though. My view is that with the list cards though, if I had to take the choice between a list card and an ad card, which one would you rather have? I mean, or you know, basically a blank Twiddler card. Now, me personally, I mean the blank Twiddler cards, basically the create your own proxy cards, though, are useful, but I'd rather have a list card over either of these, though, or basically some other card though, because a list card, whether it's basically good or not, is basically a card that you potentially could use though. Um, I mean, yes, the blank cards you can use, you can make your own. You could basically choose to take that blank card and then turn it into something like basically a steel artifact or stone rain. Um, basically, is kind of where I was pointing at that you could also use basically some of the um, basically some of these older cards though potentially could be used um, or brought back though with the upcoming sets in the future though as an alternate option though. Not all of them are going to fit though. Some of them are definitely not qualified, but I think there's always a potential. Well, I am at this point going to go ahead and wrap this video up though, because there are things that I need to go ahead and move on to get done though, and clean up, and then basically sort cards though. One of these days we'll be sorting cards though. Um, what kind of blue deck are you putting together there, Zombie? I mean, after all, one of I think one of the best cards for well, a I wouldn't say, well, actually I would say, I mean, besides obviously some of the force of wills though, um, but there uh, an old card though that basically that I think that definitely is uh, basically would be quite useful in a blue deck though is copy artifact though. Fortunately, copy artifact is not a cheap card to have unless you happen to have one, or you happen to have the random luck that Ed happened to have the other day on his live stream, where he was basically uh, going through basically, yeah. So Ed was going through a basically a flea market find, and it, on his live stream for his celebration birthday, he ran a course in the bundle that he paid for. I think he said $150 for OG dual lands, and you could definitely tell they were well loved. So they were not uh, in pristine shape. However, they weren't in basically garbage shape either. I mean, they were still quite usable and viable for the revised. And then, of course, yeah, then he crossed. So those dual lands, but he also ended up finding a copy artifact in there as well, though, which, you know, copy artifact, though, is basically it is definitely one of those original type cards, though, that is. I want to say that with some of the older uh, Magic cards, though, it's not necessarily about the playability per se, though. Um, especially in today's decks, though. Um, but it is basically the nostalgia. I mean, Stone Ring was a nice card, though. It kind of cost, though. But if you could cast it, and basically you basically could get rid of your opponent's only land they had out, you basically you were in control of the game until they could get some more land out. So that was always uh, basically a one thing though to basically do. So reason why I basically put Fallen Empires together there as a set, work basically working on Tempest and Ice Age though. It's a reason why basically I've been um, Stronghold though. It's a reason why I've even gone ahead to basically pick up some of those Goodwill random finds though, because I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, maybe I'll find some older cards though in there, and just happen to be able to fill in some holes though, and then take the time to see if I can part with some of the cards though, as well though, to offset the cost. But yeah, the nostalgia though is part of it though. It's definitely why um, I would, if I could win the lottery, and not just win. I mean, winning like the state lotto or the minimums though, that's it would allow me to do some things though, allow me to live comfortably, that sort of thing though. Winning something like the basically the Mega Millions jackpot when it hits $1 billion though. Um, that at that point though, basically then that is an entirely different game, and at that point though, then I could, I'd still take my time, but I could find and look for and appreciate being able to go and get some of the older um, nostalgic cards though, like I do here, where but only being not being able to, not just being able to get some of the uncommons and commons and some of the less costly rares, but being able to not get basically a few of those though. Uh, so uh, I need to win the lottery to do that. In the meantime, stay with my plan though here of basically turning you know new cards and stuff into basically old cards when I can do it though. Oh, if if now, yeah, uh, now if you could hit it now would be the time to hit the lottery though, because with the price of the sealed boxes coming down on some of the stuff though, even some of the older stuff, it would be the opportune time where you could get some of that old stuff though, where maybe it might have cost you, you know, for let's say pick a box though, and maybe it would have cost you, 10 grand for that box, but now you could pick it up for 7,500. Well, yeah, 10 grand, and you got basically, you're going to be getting 20 years worth of, you know, $10 million or 20 million or 30 million a year after taxes. Though 10,000 is still not a big deal. However, you want to crack it though, and at that point though, being able to pick them up for 7,500 though, now you could crack one and save one, and I guarantee you, if you got a hold of some of that old stuff though, as much as I would love to open them all up at the same time, I would, and I'd be tempted. I would basically open it up more conservatively and basically do it, one pack at a time and put it on video nowadays. And then whether I load it up or not to the channel, different story though, but have it on video. But I would definitely do what Ed does though, and did years ago when he was getting them, was basically to go ahead and basically get uh, the basically some of the big finds or cards though. Look at getting those potentially graded though. You know, as much as Rudy has his takes about graded versus ungraded, I think from my viewpoint, I would prefer to have them graded though. Uh, Now, do I need 10 copies of the same card graded? No. One copy graded, 10 basically, or a play set of four ungraded though, or three, and then the graded one, absolutely fine. Because then I can proxy the one that's in the case though, and just basically call it a day. I have somewhere around here. I have a ton of comic books, but I picked up a one um, Wolverine comic book though, which is actually graded though, and it'll say in its grading though because it's an error version. Just like I do have some basically Morgan silver dollars though that are loose. I do have a few that are graded though that were basically part of um, Ted Binion's uh, stash or his uh, basically collection of Morgan silver dollars though, and those will stay graded though. But they're graded and they'll stay in their case not because they're of any. The coins themselves though are good, but more so because of the fact that it's basically part of Ted Binion's empire though. I've got, I'd say maybe a dozen Morgans or so, maybe a little more than that. But I will say that like my dad, when my dad had a number of coins though that he had, but with his passing though, me and my brother decided that as much as it was they were great, we decided that for the most part that we ended up basically um, selling the his coins so on splitting the cash with the exception of like a few coins that we opted to keep um, more for basically uh, nostalgia though the coins that we basically chose though were ones that really weren't necessarily of high value though. It was more of the fact that it was just a little piece to keep though. Just like I kept he had basically had collected some cars though from Hot Wheels though, and I know they're not a particularly um, valuable ones because I've already checked though. So it was one of those things where it was more basically just a something to remember and buy. Just like uh, my brother wanted to keep my dad's cane. Well, and he kept a few other things. And the thing was is that I didn't really have a good way to bring some of the stuff back with me though, so that was perfectly fine. Um, there was, I know that there's still there's still a lot of they had packed a lot of stuff away though because they thought they were going to move, and then they ended up not moving, and he ended up retiring. But a lot of that stuff was packed though. One of the things that is still out there and packed though, um, somewhere in the house though, and when they get to it, they'll get to it, or when I get back there again, um, look for it though, and that is my dad's service medals from his time as in Vietnam. one of the things that I want, though. Uh, but it's also something that, um, basically, as long as they find them, though, just like my uncle has, I think, a service jacket that my dad wore, though, or had, that he's got, though, that he's held on to. So, well, I am going to, at this point, take a break here, and I will come back at some point, though, and apparently the tabs on my computer have decided to stop tabbing. So I am going to have to. Prime just joining in. Yep. Prime, you're a little late though, but guess what? Though, like with all my live stream videos, though, this will be placed up for basically the opportunity to rewatch, though. And like with live videos, one of the things that I do, if needed, is basically there's a option on YouTube that under settings though that says, "Hey, playback speed, set it to 1.5 times," and that way you can kind of zoom through the playback though without losing the entire content of the playback though. And as much as uh, watching the entire thing is great though, and I do sometimes being able to do it in a basically a little faster speed though can be useful as well. So, guys, I will be back on another stream. Be back at some point in the near future. But I appreciate everyone coming in, stopping, chatting, hanging out though, and we will see you in the next one. Don't forget, I'm putting some of the stuff up though over the next, basically. Yeah, it'll probably be ongoing though. I'm putting things up on eBay. Um, Various cards that I've got duplicates of though that I don't need, sort of thing, just to basically clear out some inventory and turn it into older inventory or new things with Wilds of Eldraine and other sets coming out. So appreciate you guys stopping by, and you guys have a great day, evening though, and we'll see you the next time.